Alright, so welcome to part 2 of the randomized monotype challenge, where last time I used a monotype team of water and monotype team of dark. And yes, I also accidentally said a pure randomized team for Pokemon Showdown. So this time I'm going to keep saying randomized monotype from starting from this part of the challenge series. So if you don't know how the rules work, basically all I gotta do is spin this wheel spin, and wherever type it lands, I'm gonna be using or building a full monotype team based on the type that this wheel spin lands. And yeah, let's start off with the first type for today. Ah! Dragon. Okay. Okay, let's see what we can do with this type. Okay, so after some further research and like finding some good dragon types to go with, this is the best team that I can pick out from or build for this monotype challenge. Okay, so before we get into the battle, I just want to make a small change to how I usually play out my battles for this challenge. So the last time I did this, I was running a Gen 9 OU format, which was cool, but I thought I might go with the Gen 9 format just for this part of the challenge. So how this format works is basically I'll be going up against like any monotype team from my other opponents. So like a monotype dragon for me against a monotype water for my opponent. And yeah, let's get into it. Alright. Let's that didn't go too well, didn't it? Oh well. Okay, so Dragon type. Yeah, that was kind of a bit scary, but it worked out in the end. So, anyways, on to the second and maybe the last type. Ah! Okay, so this is where I'm gonna address a little rule that I've added onto this randomized monotype challenge. So if I land on a type that I've already done in the previous part, I'm not gonna be using that again for this current part of the challenge series. So for instance, since I already used dragon type for this part, I'm not gonna be using it again for the next part. But yeah, that's all I wanted to address. And it's going to land on fire. Oh. Oh, this could be interesting. This could be very interesting. Okay, and after some time of trying to pick up the best fire types I could possibly find for this team, here's what I come up with. Well, that was quick. Yeah, that was really quick. Okay, yeah, uh, I'm gonna count that as an early forfeit, so yeah, let's move on to the next one. That was expected. Ah, jeez. Okay, so overall, I think that was a bit of a like a fair game here. So yeah, I I was kind of expecting for me to be defeated on the last one, but and the early forfeit, yeah, we don't count that as like a win. So I'd say both of these teams they did their best. But yeah, anyways, hope you enjoyed part 2 of the random monotype challenge. If you want to see more of this, you should go and see the first part if you haven't already. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next video, whenever that might be. And until then, goodbye.